Hello everyone, welcome. So recently I was diagnosed and treated with Covid-19, aka coronavirus. So just wanted to share uh, my experiences and what all I went through and how did I take care of myself post discharging from the hospital. So let's split the video into four parts. Let's discuss about how did I contract the virus. Then we'll go into symptoms and what sort of treatment I underwent and how was my post recovery. So starting with how did I contract the virus? So I had to go to my hometown and stayed there for around a month or so because I had some work with the government officials there regarding some land issue and all. So I met one guy and we had to travel together. So around 20 minutes or so in our own cars. So I had my windows rolled up. So I was wearing a mask, perfectly sealed and everything. The other guy was wearing a mask, but like majority of the he was wearing a mask to his chin and not to his nose and mouth like this. So the problem is the mask is supposed to be worn by you closing your mouth and nose all the times, but he didn't follow that because he was talking over his phone. So I came back. Now, how did I contract the virus? Because I was wearing a mask, so I did not contract the virus at that point of time. So I parked my car, I had some breakfast and got ready, and I traveled back to Hyderabad in the same car. So this time, as I was traveling alone, I did not wear a mask. So what happened was when this guy was talking, speaking on the phone in my car, the aerosols spread throughout the car and was suspended in the air like that. So since coronavirus, we know that it is now airborne. This guy was talking about the phone all around. So it didn't strike to mind that I should wear a mask while traveling back also. Since I traveled for around 6 hours or so in a closed car with my air conditioning on, the aerosols got recirculated constantly around the car and I inhaled them. So I reached back. So when did I face? So that is phase 2 that regarding symptoms. So after I came back, initial 4 days was quite normal, nothing, no symptoms at all. On the fifth day, I started symptoms with sneezing. So since I have allergic rhinitis right from my childhood, I thought this may be part of it. Then by evening, I got some mild cold. So it is a very mild cold and some sore throat. So this is not sore throat, doesn't have any pain. So let us say it's the initial phase of sore throat. Let us call it gale mein kich kich to make them simple, things simple. So that is the first day. First day passed by. By the second day, I started getting low grade fever at nights. Fever was very low grade and had some myalgia, body pains, uh, and nothing else. No nausea, no other symptom that could possibly be severe. I had no cough. So this is when we got it out that this may be that. As I stayed in my hometown for around 30 days, I thought maybe this could be. So I got myself tested and I was tested positive. So I stayed at home for 3 days, and since isolation was difficult at home because I have my grandmother staying in close proximity to us in the same home, so I got myself admitted into the hospital. So since my sister is an already doctor, so the treatment sort of started early. So I first started with some basic azithromycin, assuming this was a cold and I was already on it. So once I got admitted, uh, they put me on doxycycline, ivermectin in the initial days. So initial 4 days after the admission to the hospital, I had no symptoms, just that mild grade fever, and it is not always there. It is only at the night times also, and I was hale and healthy. So I was just thinking maybe I should have gone home because I have no heavy symptoms. My SpO2 was fine. It was totally good. So after 4 day, fifth day, all of it changed all of a sudden. So on the fifth day, I started getting very high fevers. So fever starting from 101 to somewhere to 103. Adding to fevers, this is when I started to feel a pain in my the diaphragm. So I couldn't take a complete breath. That complete breath at the time I couldn't take. It was like and abruptly cut off because beyond that point it pains a lot. And second thing is there is a lot of pressure in the left side of my chest. There was very mild pain. So this is when my SpO2 started jumping between 93 and to 95. So the first day went by and I thought, okay, this maybe will subside down. The second day I started getting cough. I lost my voice, like I couldn't speak any louder. It was very difficult for me to speak to either to phone or to someone else. And the myalgia was huge at this time. So this is sort of time when I had also digestive problems. So I could feel the appetite, but I couldn't eat anything because of the severe nausea. The nausea was always there. I even took Zofar to control the nausea. So at this phase is where the real treatment started. So let's discuss about the treatment. What? So initially I mentioned I was on some basic tablets to control the symptoms and all. So for the treatment phase, I would always suggest when you feel a symptom or something else, immediately consult a doctor. Because recently these days we have been seeing online that they're just writing some list of medicines and just buy these medicines and keep them with you. These will cure coronavirus. No, it depends upon the person to person and what kind of symptoms he's experiencing. Because some people have very mild symptoms. In that case, they just don't need any medication. For some people, they are mild to moderate or moderate to severe. In my case, it was moderate. It was not mild. It was not severe. I required a different kind of treatment. So just days before I contracted, my uncle went through same COVID-19. He had a different sort of treatment. So the treatment changes from person to person. What kind of comorbidities have, what kind of other illness he is having. So always please consult a doctor. Don't go the treatment by yourself. So at this point of time, for me, the symptoms were not going down. So they put me on corticosteroids. So I went through 4 days of dose, and on the first day of the steroid itself, the symptoms totally vanished. But as my sister says, it is a double-edged sword. So the side effects of corticosteroids was you need to constantly monitor your blood sugars. My blood sugar on the first dose shot up to 300, and later it subsided down because the body got used to it. So if someone is diabetic or something, it is going to be complicated dealing with steroids and all. So after the fourth dose, the symptoms were totally normal. I just started feeling a lot better. I could eat something. There was a change. So after the fourth day, they stopped giving me the steroids and they put me on oral steroids because they need to slowly taper up the dose, not doing it suddenly. So I was discharged the next day. So after 4 days, I spent totally of 10 days in the hospital, 4 days without symptoms, and the rest 6 days with symptoms. 5 days on steroids, 1 day discharge. Now, the post-recovery phase was the most difficult thing of the entire phase of COVID-19. At this point, when I came back home, I started feeling a lot of different symptoms. So one of my cousin brothers went through the phase of COVID-19. He was somewhere between moderate to severe, but he was treated himself at home with the help of the doctors. So his suggestions and his experiences helped me a lot immensely because you don't know what kind of symptoms you're going to encounter at the recovery phase. So to start with, I had severe fatigue. Fatigue so intense that if I walk 100 to 200 meters of distance, the heart rate would shoot up to 140. And it's a pounding heart rate. You can hear it in your ears. There is sweating. It's like you've done a lot of work, like you walked some 5 or 6 kilometers. Second thing, you feel always this tingling or mild burning sensation in your hands and feet. For reasons unknown, it feels like you need to increase the fan speed. Or it is a strange feeling. Third thing is there is a lot of bloating in the stomach. So you feel the appetite, but you eat something, your stomach bloats. And adding to the bloating, I had diarrhea and indigestion. So I had to go to the washroom maybe 10 to 12 times in a day in the initial days. If you could feel appetite, but whenever I eat something, no. Some used to go for just goes upset. So adding to this, fourth one, I had nagging headache. This headache used to long the day long and used to never subside. So this went on for days and days and days, for almost even 20 days. 20 days after the recovery, I could still feel the headaches. Another thing is I couldn't sleep. So you don't feel sleepy at all because I sleep regularly at 10 or 11. But I used to be awake until 4, or maybe slept for a few hours and wake up at 7. So I couldn't sleep. There was sudden change in my sleep patterns, and sometimes I feel sleepy all the day. I feel like sleeping. Another thing is disorientation. You couldn't concentrate on any particular task. Whenever there is something that involves brain work, you just can't do it because you can't concentrate for more than an hour. You feel like taking rest. You feel like stopping this work right away. And there were low grade fevers for at least 3 to 4 days after discharge, somewhere between 99 to 100. It doesn't stay for long, it just comes and goes. So, these were the list of post COVID symptoms I faced. So, some of them lasted very long, like fatigue is something I still face, and headaches, I still face them constantly. But the recurrence has gone down. My voice came back after maybe 2 weeks or so. That is how long that thing lasted. The tingling sensation went away between 4 to 5 days. The sleep pattern took at least 10 days to adjust. The sore muscles took 10 days to adjust. The disorientation took 2 full weeks to adjust. So there are few measures that we can take to treat these post-COVID symptoms. One is walking very very moderately, in a comfortable pace. How can you walk? What extent you can do in a split form of way you can do this throughout the day. Second thing is take mild coffee whenever you feel headache. Mild coffee, not the regular strong coffee, just very mild coffee. So even at this phase, after discharging for 10 days, I did not take any sugar because I was still using the oral steroids to taper my steroid dose. So I started taking very very mild coffees, and for the bloating and all, take very small meals. So I used to split my meals from 3 to almost 7 or 8. So since I was using medicines like Fabiflu, so which resolved all my chest pains, my SpO2 and all, there was a lot of potassium in my body. So I had to take a lot of coconut water at least twice a day, and a lot of dry fruits that includes cashew nuts, almonds, prunes, apricots, raisins. So take them in good quantities, like you can take them handful in any way that is palatable to your mouth. Because at this time, any kind of food tastes bitter. Just don't feel like eating a lot of, don't feel like drinking water. So a lot of people don't tend to drink water because it tastes bland. Have the maximum extent of water you can have. So if you don't feel like taking it at all, maybe try buying a mixed fruit juice. Dilute it with water. Mixed fruit juice which doesn't have any sugar. Dilute with water. Take it throughout the day. So just making it palatable to your mouth. But please do understand, this virus is not to be taken something lightly. Okay, we all need to take proper measures to keep ourselves distance from it. So don't be in assumption that okay, I'm young, I'm hale and healthy, I can't contract the virus. Even if I get it, the symptoms might be mild because I have no other comorbidities. My blood pictures are perfect. My sugars are always in excellent condition. My lipid profile is it's at 99% close to being perfect. So I have no other comorbidities that I'm having these huge symptoms. So immunity doesn't play a role. The virus actually trips your immunity so hard that you don't even understand what is happening with your body. It is like A on one day, it's like B on the next day. So it is very difficult to comprehend what is going on with the virus, even for the patient and the doctor also, because the patient doctor interaction is so low at that time because nobody should be exposed from you. So they all tend to visit in a very very brief times. They can't use a step to understand your hit and all. They use CT scans. So it is a very long road to recovery. Hospitalization gets over in just 10 to 12 days at max. At max, the post recovery will take at least 45 days to 2 months. So that is how bad it is. Second thing is wearing mask. Please don't wear it to your chins. Make sure the mask is properly sealed around your face. Do not touch your hands to your eyes and all. Wear a face shield when you're going outside. More than being exposed on the outdoors, there is 100% probability that you will be exposed indoors. The aerosols will tend to stay on the air. One great example is I contracted the virus. I moved closely with my mother and my grandmother and all. Nobody caught it from me. Reason being, they used to mingle with me, but I used to not speak with them. So whenever I spoke, I used to wear a mask, even when I had no symptoms. So luckily that played to some extent, and adding with a bit of luck and God's grace, nobody contracted the virus. So that is why if we observe these vegetable vendors, street vendors, they don't contract the virus that easily because they meet a lot of people in a day, but they are all are outdoors. Coming to indoors, you spend 1 hour with a person without a mask. There is a 100% chance that you will contract the virus. So be very careful. Take utmost care. Wear a mask. Wear a face shield when you're traveling outside. Okay, always wash your hands with soap for at least 30 seconds. When you come back, when you touch anything, this virus tend to stay on surfaces also at least for 48 hours. That is the minimum. And sometimes it can stay on surfaces for 5 to 6 days also. Okay, so wash your hands regularly, use face shield outside. So these are my experiences with the face of COVID-19. So if some of you have any doubts or need any further info, please leave a comment below and I will respond to them. Thank you very much.